everybody. It is a peppermint milkshake. Shouldn't be drinking this, but I don't know. On Christmas, I just get that urge like once a year. Sometimes I go to Chick-fil-A and I have a peppermint milkshake in Chick-fil-A. And then I saw that this hamburger place near me had peppermint milkshakes. So this is just like way too much for me. Too much for my teeny little stomach to handle all this milk and ice cream. But it's good. I like it. And it's expensive, so I don't want to waste it, but I'm just snacking on my little peppermint milkshake. Make my stomach explode, but once a year I could deal with it. So what are you up to? Getting closer to Christmas? You going crazy? Getting gifts? You getting me a gift? I like gifts. I'll take a gift. I could always use a gift. So just finishing up, speaking of gifts, finishing up my own sessions. I think I'm on track. I only have a couple more books to get out. All good to go this year. Everything's on track. Everything's on pace. I think it's going to be very smooth for me. And I think I only have 2 other sessions left for this year. I have one this weekend, and I think I have one after Christmas. I get the date. I got to travel for that one, and then I'm done for the year. It's a weird year, but hey, what are you going to do? You just kind of roll with it. Like a peppermint milkshake. When you see it's there, just enjoy it while you can, and then it's gone. I don't know, what comes after peppermint milkshake? It's January. January doesn't have its own milkshake. So things just move on. So how are you? If you're new to the show, my name is Michael. I'm a women's photographer from New Jersey. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of women through the course of my career. And we come on every week or so, chat a little bit about boudoir photography, and answer questions because, as we know, boudoir photography is a very strange universe. And want people to have fun, have a good session, walk away with photos they sort of enjoy. And as you know, this whole industry is a minefield. One misstep, this step. It's not easy finding a photographer. Boudoir photographers are weird. The whole thing about boudoir industry is weird. So we want to give you the information so you can ask the right questions, so you have a smooth sailing adventure on your boudoir journey and walk away with some cute photos. You know, when you're curious about how this show works, you can see about last week. Last week was more of an informational show. I did about answering some essentials, like boudoir essentials. It was mostly the things that I tell women to bring along, the key items they should bring. So if you're curious about something like that, you can listen to the last episode. And again, kind of a fun topic for this week. It's a little unusual. Doesn't affect everybody out there, but it could affect a few people out there who may be wondering about this. So we have an interesting and unique kind of thing we're going to be talking about today, which we will get to in a moment. So thanks for stopping by and listening to the show. So each week, kind of answer a question or a single topic that women may have about boudoir photography. And this particular week's topic, I ran into really for the first time about a year ago. I think it was just about last Christmas. And so we're going to chat about this today. It's kind of a fun thing, a unique thing, but I thought it would be interesting to talk about because I ran into a similar type of situation just 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And I thought it would be a fun topic to discuss on the show for anybody who ever had the same thought, and maybe somebody does. So you say, all right, this is great, Mike. What is the question for this week? And the question for this week is, can a boudoir photographer fake a cuckold or a couple's boudoir shoot? Can they fake it? You're like, what the hell do you mean, can they fake it? Well, we're going to get into that a little bit and talk about this topic. Like I said, a little bit of a fun topic, a little bit of an experimental topic, something I never really planned on happening or doing. It was a little bit of an adventure, a little bit of a test of editing skills, and is it possible to sort of fake a couple's boudoir session if there's just one client? And you say, what does that mean? Well, I get, and we chatted about this maybe a couple episodes back, but I get requests. I don't want to say a lot more requests, but this popped up more than maybe it used to in the past, where there is a woman, sometimes a married woman, who wants to come in and do photos or do poses with a man that isn't her husband. Or sometimes there may be a woman, I don't know if they're married or not, but it could be a single woman who likewise wants to come in and do some poses with a guy. And you hear this from time to time. I remember one woman a while ago had some of these like magazine style poses and, dramatic, two people, the kind of things you'd black and white and frame out and put up on a wall or a display style pose. And she found this guy, came in and did these shots, turned out really interesting. So it's not my typical thing, but I'm always up for trying a little bit of an adventure. And so sometimes you get these requests, can I bring someone in? I want to do some particular poses or something like that. So what had happened was about a year ago, I again had a request from someone. And now that I think about this, she was married. I think she was married woman. And she wanted to come in. This was either for Christmas last year. It was like right before. I don't remember exactly. So chatting with her, and this was a woman I had worked with previously, maybe a year or two before that. So I knew her, had a good time. First time she came in, she was very happy. Again, she wanted to do some very particular type of photos. I think she is married. And she wanted to do these photos with a guy. And she was asking me, can I bring a guy in? Someone I'm chatting with, I want to do these particular poses, and thought it would be kind of fun to do. I guess giving it to her husband or showing or whatever, I'm not sure. And so I was like, yeah, that's fine. And I think the time before that, she had sent me a bunch of kind of poses she wanted to do, and I think she found some other similar poses she wanted to do. So it was like, great. The session was booked, and it just goes into my customer thing. I don't really think about it too much. I just get the reminders for when I have these shoots, and all of the emails go out, the reminders to the client or whoever else is involved in the session, the venues and the makeup artist. And, so you get in this flow of constantly getting these reminders. And then before I knew it, it was time for this woman's session. And I think maybe it was like a day or before, I forget whether she contacted me or texted me or something, or maybe I reached out to her, just see if she needed anything. And I know someone who's been in before. I don't reach out to them a lot. I kind of know how my workflow goes. But I think I did. And I think I asked her, oh, how's it going? You bringing the guy in? Because I remember she told me. And I think she said, he backed out. He didn't want to come, or he was going to come along. And then at the last minute, he said he couldn't do it. So I'm kind of depressed. I don't know if I want to go in tomorrow. She goes, I'll go. It was fun doing this last time. So she came in for her session, and she was a little bummed out. And, because she wanted to do these photos and poses. So we did some regular pictures with her. And you could tell she was like a little getting bummed out about this. And we were chatting and talking. And I said, well, it kind of stinks. And we were just talking about ideas. And I guess I wasn't really even realizing what I was saying. I was just like kind of in stream of consciousness, like talking. I forget what I was doing. And I said, I could always jump in and do these poses with you and set up a tripod and like a remote release on a camera. And then afterwards, I'll like AI myself out and put in some like big muscular dude like in there. And I was just like, kind of just like blabbering, not thinking she was going to be like, that sounds like a good idea. But she kind of went, can you do that? And I was like, what? And she's like, I didn't realize what I just said. I was just kind of, you could see how I just, I was just like talking. And I said, what? And she was like, can you do that? And I was like, I don't know. I've never tried to do anything like that before. I just kind of said that, but I don't know why I just said that. And so the two of us were talking for a moment, and I was like, I can always give it a try. We kind of brainstormed for a few minutes. And, you know, like I said, this isn't something I would normally do. I had a relationship with this woman, and I have no problem with pictures. But when you're working kind of in a situation like that and you're a client, I'm very like self-aware not to cross any boundaries and get involved in stuff like that. And trust me, there's nothing about this that's going to make any photos like better. So I really don't have any interest in getting involved in anybody's pictures. Like over the years, I've been like the random arm reaching in to tug on a pair of like underwear. That was like a popular pose from a while ago. A woman was standing there kind of like this, like, and there was someone reaching in and tugging on the underwear. I've been a couple of times the anonymous like torso. There was another popular shot that made the rounds like a few years ago, and it still pops up now, where there was like a woman kneeling in front of a guy and she was holding on to him and like looking up, like giving him that eye, like, you know, and then people would come in and want to do those shots. And I'm like, well, who's going to be? And they're like, I thought you could be. I'm like, me? You know, but we kind of roll with it. And someone's like, wants to try it out. All right, we'll try it out. But this was a whole new kind of a level of doing this thing. So we chatted about it for a while, and, you know, we had a good relationship, and she was like, yeah, no, it's cool. We'll try it. I said, I don't know exactly how this is going to look. I said, we can try it. And she showed me, like I said, I saw some of the shots that she was trying to do. Wasn't anything like super crazy at all. It was just more like these like shots that were more dramatic. People like looking at each other, or one person holding another from behind. There wasn't really anything kind of explicit, or I don't think she had anything, but I wasn't interested. I don't think there was anything super explicit. I wouldn't have been doing anything explicit, but I think it was just more kind of like poses about this intimacy, or a guy like holding on to a woman. And she was like, okay with it. I said, well, we'll give it a shot and see what we could do afterwards. I still wanted to do like just regular photos with her, and what she wanted to do. And this was kind of like, if it works out, it's a bonus type of a situation, you know, so the whole session wasn't sort of relying on this. And so set up the tripod, and actually I think we did some on remote release. I think some of it was just started video, and I was taking frame grabs from the video because I wasn't sure what would work better. And so some of these photos we did kind of like on a bed kneeling, and I was mostly obscured. And for the most part in these sessions, like the guy is just a prop. He's not really front and center. It's just kind of like in the background, so he's not really focused, so I wasn't too much worried about that. I think we did some standing and just like kneeling on the beds and kind of looking at what we were getting every once in a while. And I was like, all right, we'll see what we could do. And she was having a good time. She was okay with it. I was like, whatever, go ahead. And we went through this, and it was interesting. It was fun. And, you know, when we were done, I'm like, well, I'll look into this, and because the idea was to take all this out, take this out, this weird looking thing here, and try to put in some beefy hot guy's head. You know what I mean? Like, I'm really tall. I'm tall, but I'm not like super muscular. You know, I'm lean and I'm like in shape and stuff like that, but I'm not like really bulky or anything. And women want to use these photos with like bulky, big muscles and stuff like that. So the idea was I could try to put somebody's head on my head, and like she wanted tattoos, so I was going to put tattoos on the arms of the guy and like bulk everything up kind of a little bit. So that was like sort of the plan. And so got into this stuff and sat down and started editing, and it went a little bit maybe better than I thought. Because now when you're using like AI to change something, it's very hit or miss. So you can try to do the same thing once, twice, third time, fourth time, fifth time. It may take time till you finally, it's all random. So you might get something that's random. Ooh, excuse me. Gotta wipe my nose suddenly. Peppermint milkshake is getting me. So it took a while to go through the photos and to finally get something that looked like a hot dude in there. So we did like this. It wasn't even just like a face swap. It was like a head swap. And put tattoos on my arms, and we made them look a lot bigger for some of these shots. And, you know, I'm just so critical about stuff like that. Like, it wasn't super perfect, because you know, you do that AI stuff, it's not 100% perfect. But when you looked at it, it was actually kind of pretty good. And so smoothed it out as best I could, and kind of made some of these in black and white, and adjusted the contrast stuff to make them a bit more kind of dramatic. And started showing her the photos. She was like, wow, that turned out pretty good. And I was like, yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, that turned out like better than I thought. I wasn't like sure what was going to happen, so I wasn't promising anything super exciting for the results in this. And so it was an interesting exercise in like editing and creativity for me. And she got sort of the dude photos that she wanted, even though it was nauseating for her at the time. Afterwards, it looked like a dude, but during the process, this is what she was getting, you know? So that was kind of like an interesting thing for me to do. And that's something that makes my job sort of fun, is through the course of my career, always running into like certain challenges where client wanted to do something and you immediately weren't sure how you could do it, and then you have come up with this kind of a plan and you can sort of help them create what they wanted to, is always been a fun part of what I do. So in this instance, you know, the client came in, wanted to do these poses with the guy backed out, and then somehow we recreated these shots with a guy, even though that guy, technically the end photo, wasn't really there, or he didn't really even exist. So it was an interesting way to go ahead and kind of do this. And it's important for me to express, you know, this was a collaboration. It was not a unilateral kind of a thing. She was very interested in trying this as well. And we had this relationship, and she was okay with everything. And it was fun. Like I said, it's sort of like, wow, this was something like a week ago I never thought I'd been working on, and this was new and interesting kind of to me. So in the result, in the end, was we kind of faked this couple's boudoir shoot, you know, and it turned out like pretty good. It was kind of a very limited set of photos that we did, based on how I knew. You can't really move the camera around that much because you just got to set it up and you're kind of front and center. So it was just some simple poses, kneeling, and kind of did some obvious things where I knew it was easier for me to change like the heads on these guys and stuff like that. I guess the downside is, you know, each photo had a different like person, because AI isn't good about creating the same person like over and over again. It just created like a different person. But hey, you know, we're working within what we had. So this was an interesting kind of a shoot. And you're saying, Mike, would you do something like that again? And the answer is, at that time, like, I don't know. Like, it was interesting at the time. And like I said, I really don't have any interest in being in anybody else's photos. It's not that I'm like afraid of it. I just don't want to. I don't want to get involved with customers and their stuff like that. But, you know, given the situation, and knowing that if there's a similar type of situation that pops up, and you meet someone who is like you have a relationship with, or they're okay and doing something like that, it opens the possibility to the future, if there was a certain circumstance where you could do kind of like a limited number of photos in that way. You know, they were very PG rated. Like I said, it wasn't anything explicit or anything like that. I wouldn't really be interested in doing anything like that. And then also it gets trickier if you were not standing or kneeling. Like you couldn't really do as far as like things like laying down or you know, because your angles are limited on that tripod. You can't really be, as the people are moving, zooming in and out. So you have to be kind of pretty static. And you know, I don't know, but the interesting thing and why this popped up again was a similar situation a couple weeks ago where a woman wanted to come in and do photos with again another man, and that's why that popped into my head, because we were talking about the session where she wanted to come in and do photos with somebody, and I'm like, it didn't come up in the session, but I think, you know, I'm thinking to myself, I'm retired from that from that gig. So that's what popped into my head why this all popped into my head. I was suddenly remembered what I did like a year or so ago, and that's what brought it into my mind. So hence this show. So I guess if anybody out there was wondering if it was possible in some way to fake a couple's boudoir shoot or do like poses with somebody and change their appearance, it is possible. I've done it. I think you work on sort of a limited set of photos. You can't do it in like a lot of different poses, I guess, and because it's easier for that AI to move more straight on and change things and more. And then me as a person, I'm not involved in getting into this kind of stuff with people's just not my thing. But for some basic photos, I would. But if you ever run into a situation where you're happen to be working with somebody and you need some certain kind of poses with somebody else, now it's interesting that you can pull that off and change somebody's whole appearance. And that's really what this was about, is thinking about that collaboration and how this was sort of a unique kind of a thing. It was more one time for me. I'm not really eager to repeat that again. You never say never, but I just don't really have an interest to. And so that was the topic for the show this week. And just to show you that it's amazing what is possible with photo editing in 2024 going into 2025. So I guess the short of it is possible to fake these kind of shoots. And I can only imagine what photographers will be able to do in the future as this technology gets even better. Maybe you can even fake the couple shoot and not even need a placeholder there for the man or for the woman. Although I think you need somebody. Have just someone posing like this and you could digitally fill in the rest of the space with somebody. But who knows? Who knows what will happen like a year or two from now. So that was fun. And that's what got me thinking about that was I had an inquiry about a week or so ago. A woman wanted to come in and do some photos with another man. So I thought I'd be sharing that with you this week. So that's all I got. That's all I got for you this week. And I want to thank everybody for stopping by and listening. I'm going to finish sipping on my milkshake. And apparently my nose now is starting to run, which means the cat is around here somewhere. So I'm going to leave you with that today. Enjoy my milkshake. And I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.